Hi guys, Lucy aka the Watchbox Diaries here. Welcome to the channel. Now in the luxury market, including the watch world, the word value is thrown around quite a lot. Based on the Cambridge Dictionary, the definition of value is the importance or worth of something for someone being the main point, because it's incredibly subjective. So in this video, I'm asking the big question, what makes something valuable? Now it can come from the materials themselves, so think gold, platinum, precious stones, that kind of thing. It could be the rarity of the piece, so very few available. That can be because of low production numbers, or if you're looking at the vintage market, very few still in existence. It could be really complicated, so something that requires a very high skill level to produce. Think tourbillons, grand complications, split chronographs. It could simply be that it is well designed. Every element has been considered, the attention to detail is excellent, it wears well, and the company has really thought about what the customer wants. In this video, I'll talk through a few options that I think hold high value. So everything from vintage to micro brands to high street brands, right up to high horology. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with vintage, and the vintage watch world is absolutely packed full of value. Regardless of what holds importance to you, there will be something you come across that holds value for you. Take this particular crude, for example. First up is materials. So it's a steel watch, but although a very small amount, it does actually have a 14-karat gold bezel, and that for me is a tip for the materials. Next up is rarity. There are very few of these that still remain because it's vintage. I guess most along the way have been damaged or disposed of or repurposed. And alongside that, I don't think a lot of people will have seen these watches before. You don't come across them often, which I do find with a lot of vintage credo actually. This piece is also incredibly well designed, in my personal opinion. It is super thin, sits really close to the wrist, making it a perfect dress watch. Then you've got that tank shape as well, something a little bit different to your classic round watch. They also made them in 2 different sizes as well, so perfect for a multitude of wrists. So with all of those ticks, this watch, guess how much? Guess how much? Imported £250. So you've got your gold bezel, you've got unique shape, you've got rarity, you've got comfort. It's a very good package, even if it is a quartz watch. So moving on to micro brands, I think there are so many to choose from. It's kind of boomed, the whole micro brand arena, and there's so much creativity within it at an accessible price point. First up on the list though for me is Storm. I was very lucky to get hands-on with one previously for a review and was honestly blown away by the exceptional quality. They're very well made and they're incredibly well designed. They're producing beautiful dials inspired by their Norwegian heritage without pigeonholing themselves as a dial brand. They are incredibly comfortable to wear, and I feel like the end user has been wholeheartedly considered, that whole experience. Now, I'm not sure whether Christopher Ward can still be classed as a micro brand anymore. However, do think they need to be included in a list like this because I do think they hold really good value. And what I mean by that specifically is their complications. So things like their bel canto, their loco, anywhere else in the market will cost you anywhere from £10,000 and upwards. Now, while they're not high level craftsmanship, super high quality as those higher end pieces, they are providing those kinds of complications at the price point that they are, making them a lot more accessible. And for me, there is a lot of value in that. Moving on to high street brands, and I can't not mention Longines for value. Take the Hydro Conquest as an example. With you getting a full Swiss dive watch from a well-known, well-respected brand, high-level specs, and coming in at around about £2,000. I think way back when, this kind of watch would be in line with, say, the Tudor Black Bay. It would have been that kind of entry-level piece. They are now coming in at £3,500, which is a massive difference. Another comparison would be the Omega Seamaster. Again, entry-level, similar kind of specs, they're now around £5,000, which is an even bigger difference. It doesn't seem like Longines pricing has increased anywhere near the amount that, Tudor and Omega have, but the quality has remained the same the whole time, which in my opinion makes it a high quality, high value watch. Now, another high street brand that I will always rave about for quality is Tissot. Not only are they great for the amount of range provided, within pricing, sizes, design, complications, but quality too. Specifically with a watch that I will probably never stop recommending or talking about, the PRX. The fit and finish, especially at this price range, cannot be beaten. They've even provided multiple different colorways, neutral and bold, and then as well as the quartz option, they provided a mechanical option as well, which to me is high value because they've considered the customer. So higher end, I think, is where it gets a little bit more complicated. It's a lot more subjective, I think. The higher the price and the scale, I think the harder value is to define, and personal appreciation plays a bigger role in quantifying value. I think the best way to see it is likely through independent brands. They're often able to be more creative and more experimental with things like complications and designs, making them more exciting and more unique. They're also often able to be closer to the community and build watches with the customer in mind for comfort and for alternative requirements. For me, first up on this list would be De Bethune. They are a brand that perfectly combines tradition, innovation, and elegance. They have such a unique take on the classic round watch. Like, yes, the dial itself is round, standard. However, everything around that, they have managed to be playful and super creative, but still bring that classy, elegant aesthetic. If I refer back to that list at the beginning of the video, material-wise, so they use interesting materials actually, and a lot of them are quite expensive to produce. They are incredibly rare. You don't see many of them around because they are produced in very low quantities. Complication-wise, they pretty much cover all bases. So not only do they have things like the tourbillon, moon phases, jumping seconds, but they've also innovated the movement itself. From the balance wheel and hairspring to the escapement and silicone wheel to their shock-absorbing system, they really push the technology forward and try new things. And that, to me, provides value. There's high-level craftsmanship in that. Not only that, but they are producing some of the most beautiful dials. Not only are they thinking about people who value movement and innovation within that, it's also personal preference on the aesthetics as well with options. So yeah, all round high value. I couldn't have this list together without mentioning one of my all-time favorite brands, and that is MB&F. Similar to De Bethune in a way, but far more experimental and out there. I think they're very unlike most other brands with how serious they take having fun. They have the most unique, creative designs and highly complicated watches, and it's not necessarily about what those complications do, but it's how they're displayed and reworked like no other brand. They are incredibly passionate about watches and the community, so you have that added value of being part of something. I mean, the name itself is Max Musa and Friends. For me, I think the brand ticks all of those boxes in terms of value. As I mentioned earlier, value is subjective. You've heard my thoughts on it, but now I want to hear from you. I want to know, what does value mean to you? Are you a complication-driven person? Do you hold value in special editions or piece uniques? Let me know everything in the comment section below. As always, a huge thank you for tuning in to my horological ramblings. If you've enjoyed my content and you would like to support me and the channel, then there's a couple things that you can do. I have set up a Buy Me a Coffee, and as much as I love coffee, it is not just for that. I will pop the link in the description down below. And then there's the standard YouTube things, so make sure you've given this video a like, you've commented all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, you're obviously subscribed to the channel, and then if you'd like to be notified of my upcoming videos, all you've got to do is click the little bell, and YouTube will do its thing. Until next time, bye!